There's this verse in the Bible that says God grants sleep to those He loves. So when I have work that needs to be done midday and I suddenly feel sleepy, by taking this verse out of context, I can tell myself, hey John, you're sleepy. You need to sleep. God loves you. And it's so tempting to give in and use this verse as an excuse to not do work and just be lazy. And so I realized that it's easy for us to use spiritual language, even use verses to disguise our selfish intentions. We can be guilty of even using God's name to stay in our comfort zones and steer clear from challenges. But it is not God's will for us to never be challenged. So how can we know what God actually wants us to do? In Matthew 16, verses 22 to 23, even Jesus himself was not exempted from this temptation. But let's see how he responded to it. In verse 22, it said there, "And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, 'Far be it from you, Lord, this shall never happen to you.' But he turned and said to Peter, 'Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man.'" What Peter said sounds good, especially how he said that Jesus should not get killed, since Jesus was the one who would save them. "So far be it from you, Lord, this shall never happen to you." Peter's argument could have been a great excuse for Jesus to not die on the cross, a ticket for him to avoid the suffering. Jesus could have considered it and just continued to live on his life. But Jesus rebuked Peter without a second thought, for he was focused on doing what he had to do. And he did not allow the influence of selfish personal comforts to hinder himself from doing so. This is also how we are to act. We're not to allow selfish gains to stop us from fulfilling what God has called us to do. We're to face necessary sufferings head on with God, for this leads us to the greater purpose God has for us. How then can we know what we are to do? Jesus teaches us through this discourse that our minds should be set on things of God and not on the things of men. And we set our minds on the things of God when we read His Word and we meditate on it day and night, when we allow God to guide us and direct all of our steps. For only through Him would we know the difference between what is really right and what is almost right. So as we lead others or even lead ourselves, let's veer away from selfish ambition and be in step with His will by keeping our minds on the things of God, just as Jesus did. God bless you and have a great day.